So we are live right now.
Okay.
So you can share your screen.
Okay, okay, let's go. And you can see me and you can see my screen now.
We can see you right now.
Oh, excellent.
Not your screen, only you.
Huh. Okay. So.
Do you want me to help you share your screen? You know, you're sending me the presentation. Do you want me to help you with that?
Sure, absolutely. If that works, because I can see my screen. I did do share my screen and I can see it.
We can see your screen. I can only see you.
Oh.
So what I would do is I'm trying to download your presentation.
Okay. Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Today is just one of those days. I'm so sorry, all.
But you saw it earlier when we did the practice, correct?
Yes, I can see you then. It was perfect. Then so let me share your screen now, my screen, so you can you see it right now? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I will be just tell me to go to the next slide when you're ready. Okay? So you can start now.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. My name is Teresa Stivers and I'm the CEO of Walden Family Services. I'll try and condense my presentation to be respectful of time. So Victoria, if you could go to the next slide. We are a team of 115 highly trained social workers and mental health professionals located throughout Southern California to help serve children in foster care with adoptions, child abuse prevention, parent training, etc. Next slide. Our vision is to help every child find a loving family so that they can become their best self. And our mission is to support the lives of children and families through lasting relationships. Next slide. We work very closely on everything that we do. We utilize our guiding values, and those are what set the direction for our organization. We even utilize those guiding values in our performance review. And I'll be the first person to tell you that our team are overworked and underpaid, as most people are in the nonprofit world. Some have left us to go to other institutions that have better compensation packages, but many have come back to us because of us living through these guiding values and making sure that we utilize them to best serve our client needs. Next slide. By the numbers, even though Blacks make up only less than 6% of the population in Southern California, as you can see from our chart, they are severely overrepresented in foster care. The FFA stands for Foster Care Association. The THP is our program for 18 to 21-year-olds, former foster youth, and THP Plus is 21 to 24-year-olds. And that is for many reasons, but mostly due to the barriers that the Blacks in Southern California and throughout this country face in education, employment, healthcare, many other institutions. And sadly, they're overrepresented in foster care. Also, go back one slide, Victoria. Same thing for the Hispanic population. They make up only 39% of the population in Southern California, but you can see here that they are 44% of our clients in FFA, 50% of our clients in the 18 to 21-year-old, and 44% of our clients in the 21 to 24-year-old. So we try to help them overcome the barriers that they face, not only because of their race and ethnicity, but because they grew up in the foster care system. We also volunteer in the homeless count in Southern California, in Los Angeles, San Diego, and in the Inland Empire. And we found that LGBTQ youth are overrepresented in the homeless population in Southern California, as well as foster care. And that is for a slightly different reason. And those are youth that are kicked out of their homes because their own families didn't want them because of them being LGBTQ. So we work very closely to find all of these youth with safe, loving homes where they will be welcomed. These homes are culturally appropriate and affirming to all of our youth. Next slide, please. Our gender is mostly male in our foster family organization. Again, you see where we have more of the LGBTQ youth in the 18 to 24-year-old programs, and in the 21 to 24-year-old programs, we have higher female representation. So we work with both youth, and we work really hard to find social workers. Male social workers are really hard to find for us in Southern California, but we have made a concerted effort to hire more male social workers to work with the males in all of our programs. Next slide, please. Because we feel that diversity of our clients is so high, we feel that it's very important to have that diversity represented in our staff members as well as our board members. So when I came to Walden over 11 years ago, I worked really hard to make sure that both of those populations are very diverse. So if you look at this slide, the top slide are our senior leadership team. You have myself as the CEO, we have our COO, our CFO, our Director of Quality Assurance, looking at all of our programs to make sure that we are meeting the very high standards, as well as a Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, who makes sure that every part of our organization, both internally and externally, meets the needs of our children and families and staff members in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our staff, our board members are also very diverse. We work really hard to make sure that our board members have lived experience so that when they look at our programs, our financials, et cetera, they look at it from a trauma-informed, diverse lens like our staff do. So we have board members who are former foster youth. We have board members who've been adopted and board members who've adopted through foster care, in addition to our other board members who have finance and accounting experience, who are attorneys, who are marketing and fundraising experience, who have marketing and fundraising experience to make sure that our organization is successful. But despite all of that, as you can imagine, having diversity, having these great policies and procedures in place, we still need to do additional information to make sure that everybody in the organization is on the same page. We work really hard with our board members to make sure that before they come into their organization, they fully understand good governance and what our needs are. We send them a prospective board member packet that have all sorts of forms. They have to fill out about 20 forms, anti-racism, anti-conflict of interest, all of these, what their financial give or get expectations, et cetera. And we also tell them what they can expect from us, which are timely financial information, program updates, challenges and success stories in the organization, et cetera. So we work very closely and work very directly with them up front before they join as a board member to make sure they understand the commitment. But, you know, this is the real world. And despite that, challenges always arise. And they have during my last 11 years in the organization with the board of directors and our senior leadership team. And what I have found to be most helpful is to bring in a third party person to come in and look at the organization and work with our board members and our senior leadership team and help us as sort of like a mediator or a facilitator. And that has been very successful. And at that time, you would hope that those conflicts are resolved. Sometimes they're not. And sometimes board members aren't a good fit for the organization. And that's okay. That's okay as long as it can be done congenially and relationships can be continued on after they are no longer with the organization. And that has happened with us. And sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But as long as all parties made their best efforts to work in a congenial way, in the best efforts of the children and the clients that we serve, that is the most important thing. And as well, in my 20 plus years of working in the nonprofit world, staff conflicts will happen as well. I have found, and this is just my experience, and I'm very interested to hear from everybody else, but I mostly find as the CEO that those staff conflicts resolve around money. To be really honest with you, of course, program staff want more money for their programs and they feel that it is very important. And of course it is. But me as the CEO and our leadership team have to look at everything as well from a fiscal perspective as well for the long-term viability of the organization. And again, when that happens, I think it's very important to bring in somebody from the outside, a nonprofit facilitator to work with you to resolve those conflicts. It also helps to when people are voting, because I like to say this is not a dictatorship, it's a democracy. And even though I am the CEO, I have put together a team that I trust and that I value, who have diverse experience and thoughts. It helps to have an odd person, so you're not always two people against two people, but possibly can get, even sometimes in the worst case scenario, 3 people voting one way and 2 people not voting another way. But we have found a very useful tool that we bring out sometimes when we can't come to agreement to help us make these decisions. And if Victoria, if you don't mind going to the next slide. And this is a useful tool to help guide decision-making that we use in our organization. And again, for us, it's mostly programmatic. And it's either should we keep a new program? Should we let a program go? Those types of things. And these are the questions that we ask ourselves. And as I told you earlier, our mission, our vision, and our values are very important. And every decision we make, that's the first question we ask. Does this meet our mission, our vision, and our values? Because we don't want to have mission creep where we're doing something solely for bringing in money or solely because it makes us look good in the eyes of certain funders. We really want to do something that's in the best interest of the organization. And so that is the first question that we answer. And if we say yes, then we move on to the second question is, do we have or can we grow the capacity to deliver these services? Do we have the staff? Do we have the systems? Do we have the licenses, the experience, and the relationships that we need to successfully bring in and run a new program? And then that's where the CFO, the COO, everybody, it's really important in the senior leadership team to really be very open and honest and direct with each other. And again, if the next question is yes, we go down to the third. And sometimes it's not, are we trying to bring in a new program, but do we have to let a very beloved program go? And then we look at, does this program hinder our ability to build, grow the capacity, or to deliver services to our organization? And then we go down to the third question is, does it make financial sense for the organization? What is the cost versus the revenue? When can we break even? Does the revenue support our corporate overhead? It's not just the cost of the program, but it's the cost to keep the lights on, to pay the rent, to pay the accounting team, to process our bills, to pay for our payroll person and our HR person. We have about a 10% overhead on top of what it costs to run those programs. And it's critical that our programs help cover that overhead as well, because otherwise we're in the red every year and we're eating into our surplus funds. And that's not good for the long-term viability of the organization. Walden has been around for 45 years, serving vulnerable children and families through Southern California. We want to make sure that we're around as long as we're needed. And we can't do that if we're not financially secure. So the fourth question is, what are the implications if we pursue or do not pursue this opportunity? Externally, how does that work for us? What does the public, our key champions, our funders, and that's the big one. A lot of funders will come to you and want you to start a new program. And if you have to come back to them and say no, it's being able to effectively communicate that to them. And that's where this guide to decision making is very important. And our community partners, sometimes our community partners want to work with them. And that is something that Walden is very, very invested in when we can. But of course, some things like community work, advocacy, etc., aren't a source of revenue. And sometimes we have to say no in difficult situations if we don't do it. Internally, we have to look at our current programs, our various departments, our board members, the impact on the staff, particularly the morale, the trust, the optimism. That is very important. If it's going to put a further burden on the existing staff, that is something that we have to consider. Because as I mentioned, our staff are currently overworked and underpaid, particularly in times of COVID. COVID added an additional level of burden on our staff members who had to deal with their own family situations on top of being out there for our clients. And so that is something that we have to look at very carefully. So I find that this guide is really helpful for managing staff conflicts amongst the leadership team. Again, as long as this is handled in a congenial, open, and honest way to work through these situations. And so we have monthly leadership teams where we look at our program financials. They are broken out down by programs, and they're broken out by fundraising, how well we're doing. We evaluate those programs financially. We evaluate those programs on the outcomes, how successful our children are doing in those programs. And then we make decisions about where we need to go and what do we need to pivot and make any changes. And if we have issues, then that's where this form is utilized. So that is a very quick run through of my presentation. Again, to be respectful of everyone's time since we didn't start on time. But next question, Victoria, or next slide. I have put all my contact information in here, and I'm also on LinkedIn, and you're welcome to ask me any questions. Or Victoria, do we have time for questions now, or are we supposed to be done at this time right now?
We're supposed to be done at this time.
Okay, that's fine. Just contact me on LinkedIn, or my phone number is on there as well, and I'm happy to talk to people if there are any questions. So I hope this was useful, and I want to thank you all for joining us. And again, thank you for your patience, and thank you to Victoria for inviting me to be a part of this. We're always welcome and open to supporting other nonprofits.
Thank you so very much. This is very helpful. Thank you for your time. I'm going to channel all the question back to you. And thank you. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people have learned as well. Thank you for your time, and we are really grateful for taking the time out to speak to us, and to help us, especially with conflict resolution. That is very helpful. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.